finish redesigning the space rail motor because it is noisy, as many of you know. I've spared you that when I've left it running, but I have left the room and watched myself from another part of the house. Obviously, that is not ideal because I do enjoy watching it. Be right back. I love this knife, by the way. Should be using it to dumb stuff, but it is what it is. Actually, I don't even know if you guys can see me. So anyway, here we are, trying desperately to get a new battery into super cheap digital calipers. All right. Here's the old battery, which I will dispose of responsibly. And the new one. No, I used to have a really nice pair of Toyo, that's how you say it, digital calipers. I had to sell them. Times were hard. Okay, let's zero this out. Here we go. Ready to rock. So, here is the old drive unit for this. Listen to this thing. This is terrible. I know you've got some nice music going right now, but I don't know if the guy can hear this upstairs, but I don't. Okay, we're done. We're done. We're done with that terrible noise. Now, the new one. This is so exciting. So, and I will post the Arduino code for this. As with most Arduino sketches, it stands on the shoulders of several giants and a few of my old projects. So not only do we have this much quieter and surprisingly inexpensive stepper motor that's used, we've got a little control board, but you may have noticed we have a speed adjustment. So what's kind of cool about this, I have a bunch of these that I'd use. They're 10 kilo potentiometers, really standard, super standard. And I've mapped it using that wonderful map function in Arduino, so that I kind of tested this stepper last night to find out, where it's best in terms of operating speed, and where it just is like, no. It doesn't want to go super fast, and that's fine. We don't want this to go super fast. If anything, we want it to go slower than the original one. So, anywho, what we're going to do, I will hook this up eventually, I promise. But it's kind of neat. So it checks, the Arduino sketch checks. If this is at 0, so if 0, then it just sits there. It doesn't do anything. It does, delay X amount of milliseconds. I forget how many. Not very long. So it's going through that little loop in Arduino. And then it's like 0, oh, I'm still at 0. I'm hanging out. Oh, I'm still at 0. I'm hanging out. Then the second I turn this thing up, hey, that's a non-zero number. We're going to get through that if part. We're going to go to that else. And it's going to say, oh, this is at whatever number this is. I'm going to map that to, a slow speed between, I'll put it between, was it 5 RPM and 18 RPM. It was a little iffy at 20, like it would run at 20, but I don't want to sling ball bearings across the room. So yeah, anyway, so it will translate wherever I put this dial. So if I put it all the way up, it's going to go as fast as I want this to go, and I was able to define that in the code. It's a very simple code, and I'll link to it. So we'll probably eventually edit all this, but yeah. So the stepper uses these. Well, it's got 5 wires here. It's got its power. I used all the wrong colors for the wires. Thank you very much. I hadn't found my little box full of jumper wires, as most of us do this time. this is the stepper motor controller board. It's super fun. It has some like little LEDs on it, and you'll notice that it's got 4 wires, and you're thinking, oh, it's not like a servo. So a stepper and a servo work a lot differently. You've got more wires with the stepper. I'm not going to go on the exact details of all this because you can find that on the internet. Yay, internet! But basically, we are able to control what position this is in by the step. So what are other things that have stepper motors in them? 3D printers. You couldn't use a servo with that. Servo, you're like, hey, is it on or is it off? And it's really hard to get it to stop somewhere exact. A stepper, you can tell exactly where to stop. We're not going to use that function of this, but we do want kind of the accuracy of this eventually, because I have plans for this, and they're ridiculous. Now, so we know it's going to drive it. Now, what I've been playing with is someone in 2017 on Thingiverse got this off to a really pretty rockin' little start. So here are some of the pieces that this person designed. I have some issue with a few of them, and you know, maybe I don't know. But what we're gonna do right now, and so here's the new little drive thing that replaced that. So you've got these little protrusions that stick there, and they line up to drive the little elevator pieces. So these are kind of like beads. One of the things that I did not like about the ones as I found them was that they weren't quite big enough, and just, you know, this fit well with the little motor, and that's great. But yeah. So anyway, you know what? Let me show you how this works. Another USB cable. Oh, here we go. Fire up a little bit of USB power. I'm going to put this back on 0. Don't want to start it all up on. There we go. All right. So here we go. So right now it's like, hey. Oh, this is totally going to fall over. I'm just going to hold this. Okay. So right now it's like, hey, 0. If 0, don't do anything. Now, turn it up. So we're going to make it a non-zero number. And there we go. We're turning very slowly. You can see there's some lights on the stepper control board. Now let's crank up the speed. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I think I unplugged something. And then we'll put it on. I did just move this from the other room, so I'm not surprised that anything's loose. So there it's going. That's its top speed, and that's pretty darn fast for space rail. So put it down in the middle. There's a little bit of delay just because I put it in there to do like X number of steps at whatever given time. So, and now we're going to put it back to 0 and turn it off. And as you can see, it stopped moving. Yay! All right. I'm going to unplug this because I'm about to drop it. And we'll plug the camera back in for the 3D printer. Now, what I need to do is figure out exactly how we want this to fit. So this is how it fits on the space rail right here. It kind of pushes down. We've got this big housing that's got a noisy gearbox and a C-cell battery, which is like, wow, that is a nostalgic battery size. Excuse me. So, how do I get all these little bits fit in? So, like, I like this part of that design. So it's nice and flush, and that's great. So for today's iteration, what I need to do is figure out how to get this right here. This is also making it a couple different heights so that we can play with where this might sit. The other thing we're going to do is I figured out, so this right here, that's the center of our little elevator. That's right here. So this little piece fits there, and if I can get that lined up, this lines up right in the center. All right, that's it. We're gonna get out some markers. See, this is scary because now you people are gonna know, I think. I don't know. So anyway, that's our center. So we want to think about how to get that lined up so that it's under center here. So this little guy is going to have to be right like that. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Well, as I like to say, all things are possible in Tinkercad, and they are. So we'll figure out is how to extend this little housing just a little bit and add those pieces in. So I can just sit this on here. Eventually we'll have a little control panel for the power on and off, and then the speed control. Now down the line, that is going to be expanded into some other features, hopefully, so that it can control its own speed. Because as you may have noticed the other day, this thing, it's most of its failures I have found are related to timing. So, pretty interesting stuff. Okay, time to get out the old Tinkercad. The other thing too is to, the reason I went to do errands this morning is we want to measure a couple things. So I'm going to use this part, and I will put all this up on a Thingiverse as a remix, because yay. So I think if we expand this just a wee bit, so right now with the little motor, it is flush enough. So what I'd like to do is add a little piece that can snap onto here. Maybe extend this a little bit. Snap on there so that we can just take this. You see where I'm going with this? And set it here so that it's hard to exactly line this up. So you see why I got the calipers. So like when this one lines up, it's, there we go. So we want that to go straight down and over this hole there. So that means this fits this way, which is exactly how this fits too. So it just looks different because the way this is shaped, and I get why they did this. But it's a new time, and considering I started playing with Space Rail a very long time ago, before many of you were born, before many of your parents even met. I feel like, hey, you know what? It's been long enough. Let's upgrade. Let's upgrade. So the other thing is we want to make sure that all of this is aligned correctly. So for instance, wait a minute. Shoot. How'd this go? Ah, there it is. Woohoo! That was about to get exciting in the wrong kind of way. So you see, we're kind of close, but we're going to have some issues because because this is a little bit taller than this original housing. But that's okay, because I can also just push everything down a little bit. And this might give us room to add in another elevator entrance from an expansion project that might be kind of fun. So anyway, we are making progress. This is where we're at. It's time to get some Tinkercad going. Alright. Not gonna run out of battery juice. Okay. Hopefully this is not too terrible. Now that I've made some adjustments. Okay. Well, that's good. Someone just contacted me about some things. Okay, so here's the pieces that I made last night. So I have improved this little thing, this guy here, this piece. There's a couple different versions of it now. There's a taller and a shorter, and I need to print those. I did actually, you know what? I did make those into STLs last night, so I need to print them. And then here I've got the other pieces, and I made these. These actually go all the way through. Excuse me. So the holes on these go all the way through. What I may end up just doing is tacking them in place to see exactly where they need to align. You know what? I am going to do that. So what I'll do is I'll get these printing, and we can start that process. But I'm going to bring you up to speed on where things were with the motor. So Arduino Uno, really simple, and kind of where things were running in the space route. And I hope to have this running for you this afternoon or this evening, and it'll be nice and quiet so that I can be in here with it, working on other stuff without losing my mind or having to wear noise canceling headphones